Hello everyone, I'm Ricardo, and this is my Week 15 Milestone Assignment video post blog. What is fiscal policy? Fiscal policy is a setting of which of the government spends on taxation by the government policymakers. There are two types of fiscal policy: expansionary, which is an increase in G or a decrease in T, and contractionary, which is a decrease in G and an increase in T. What does fiscal policy do to us? Fiscal policy can affect the average American in many ways. In an article by David N. Mr. Real states, the primary economic impact of any change in the government budget is felt by particular groups. A tax cut for families with children, for example, raise their disposable income. This quote to me says that fiscal policy can affect anyone and anybody from any perspective, which could cause great harm or could help the U.S. population. How is the population affected by fiscal policy? Fiscal policy affects the population by changing things to which the government spends their money. It affects the overall economy of the U.S. and causes dramatic change on how people spend their money. Fiscal policy also causes change to the way taxation is represented in the economy as well as the overall spending. Supply and demand and how it's changed. Here it is on the graph from Professor Johnson's monetary policy lecture video. Shows how the supply and demand is changed from 81 to 82 by $20 million difference, to which it could be changed. And the interest rate graph I have is how interest rate is changed, as well as anything else that was as well been taken from her lecture. Interest rates changed by fiscal policy. The crowding out effect is one of the biggest outcomes to which interest rates affects fiscal policy, in which the crowding out effect is a situation when increased interest rates lead to a reduction in private investment spending so that it affects its initial increase of total investment spending. What is MPC? MPC is marginal propensity to consume, which is a fraction of extra income that households consume rather than sell. U.S. has an MPC of 0.93 in order to find the multiplier. We use the formula multiplier, which is 1 divided by 1 minus MPC. In the example given, the U.S. would have a 14.28 multiplier. The crowding out effect. The crowding out effect states that the offset of aggregate demand that results when expansionary fiscal policy raises the interest rate and thereby reduces investment spending. This is basically the opposite of the multiplier effect. I conclude that if the U.S. had an MPC of 0.93, the best conclusion of the policy would be a change in real GDP, which would increase supply and demand. And here are the sources that I used, which were one from Econolib, from Balance.com, Google Images, Investopedia, and Blackboard. Thank you, everyone.